You ever watch the show Stranger Things?
I have.
Okay.
I'm all caught up.
So, there's a new season coming out in about a month or two. And I decided to go watch a recap of the previous season. And the previous season, most of it centered around they built a mall. An 80s style mall. Excuse me, an 80s style mall. Where it had like the orange, horrible color food court, neon lights everywhere. And I'm watching some of the recap stuff online. And there's a scene where 11 is walking out with some girls, right? And they're coming out of a JCPenney's. And as they're coming out of JCPenney's and they're talking, like they're in the foreground, but in the background, you start to see there's a sign for the Ground Round. Do you remember that restaurant?
Oh, yeah.
Right? I think we've talked about
Family favorite when we were young.
Ground Round. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this was in the thing. And then I'm looking around, and then you see like Sam Goody, you see the old Gap logo. You're seeing a lot of these stores that aren't really, I mean, besides the Gap, that aren't there anymore, right? They just got use of the signage and the trademark stuff to put into this mall. Orange Julius, Mr. Wetzel's Pretzels, like all that nonsense. So I was thinking about the Ground Round, and I started looking at some of the Ground Round commercials again online. I said, what if we did something about restaurants that aren't around anymore? That we remember growing up. Or maybe we've never even, like they were gone before it was even our time to go and check those things out. So as I was trying to compile a list, I've been finding all of this stuff. And I realized there are so many TV ads for restaurants that were, they started off regional somewhere in the country, and then were nationwide, but I don't remember like several of these ever being on the East Coast. And then some restaurants were only on the East Coast and never around the rest of the country. So we have a list that we can put everything together here, and I found all the, this list is so long that this is probably going to be a part 2, and I don't even know if we finish part 1 as we do all of this. But I found all these commercials, and some of them are amazing. Some of them are just, you're in awe about how terrible these things are. So let's see what's first on the list here. First on the list, I guess these were not in alphabetical order, so bear with me here. A restaurant called Beefsteak Charlie's. Did you ever go to a Beefsteak Charlie's?
I never did, but there was one near us.
There was, okay.
Yeah, we had one in our area, but when I was young, we didn't have a lot of money.
Right.
So we didn't really go out to eat that much. So I'm going to probably recognize a lot of these places, but I haven't been in a lot of these places. Ground Round, for whatever reason, was one that we did go to when I was a kid. Because
kids pay what they weigh, just a penny a pound every day.
Was that it?
That was it.
That was it, huh?
Yeah. So
I just remember them having soundless cartoons on the TVs.
Yeah, they'd have the projection TVs on the wall where it would shoot from the projector onto these big empty spaces on the wall. But they were the old black and white cartoons, like you would get back in World War II era. Like, would you stay for the day and you get the newsreels and cartoon
Sergeant Goofy and shit.
Yeah, all of that stuff. They had the stale popcorn on baskets. There would be peanut shells on the floor.
Which is like such a weird thing when you think about it. Like, even back then, there was no one to say, like, well, somebody's going to fall.
Not even the fall. How oversensitive people with peanut allergies by today's standards.
Yeah.
You know?
Even in Texas Roadhouse, you have to ask for the peanuts now. They don't just,
Same thing with Five Guys. They used to have the big sacks of peanuts just on the line when you would be waiting to order, and then the other line where you're waiting to pick up your order. Now they have it off to the side. You have to ask for it because of the peanut allergy concerns. But these were they were on the floor. Like, that's how cool this country used to be. No one gave a shit about just throw it on the floor. Somebody will clean it up. They're paid to do that. They used to have kids' parties there, and they all had these, like, circular booths. You know, if you weren't sitting at the tables, all the booths were kind of like a round semicircle kind of thing. But Beefsteak Charlie's, I'm sure there were, because for this discussion, so you know, Brian grew up in, I guess it's sort of like Jersey Shore-ish area.
Yeah.
I grew up on the South Shore of Long Island. So 2 different states, but not that far apart, and pretty much the same world of going through all of this stuff. I remember the Beefsteak Charlie's commercials, but I don't think I ever ate there. Like, some of these restaurants closed or sold to other conglomerates and stuff by the end of the 80s. So I remember the commercials, but I don't think some of these places I ever been to.
And those commercials were ubiquitous. I mean, they were on constantly.
Yeah, especially if you were watching cartoons like Channel 5, Channel 11 here in
like
New York.
local network stuff.
They were constantly on. So as we go through this list here, I'm going to play the commercials. So, most of them are 1, but some of them later on the list I found 2 that you're going to like, we need to watch another commercial because they're just so damn ridiculous. Where is this one here? Okay, so this is Beefsteak Charlie's. This was, and a lot of the restaurants here, let me go back to this before we do that. A lot of these restaurants, I guess their heyday was the 70s into the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the restaurants we have on the list predate that. But a lot of these restaurants were 70s into the 80s, and then by the 90s, something happened. They just all fell apart. Like, they couldn't compete, or their service became terrible, or I don't know, somebody embezzled the money. I don't know what happened, but a lot of these restaurants just fell apart. All right, let's take a look at Beefsteak Charlie's here.
I'm Beefsteak Charlie, and you're going to get spoiled with free shrimp.
Thick, juicy steaks cooked up just like you like them. And sweet, tender shrimp flowing endlessly. All the shrimp and the fixins you can eat with your dinner are free, absolutely free.
At our salad bar,
You're gonna get spoiled.
we will treat you right.
You're gonna get spoiled.
With shrimp.
At Beefsteak Charlie's tonight.
I wouldn't think shrimp was the big selling point to come in and get a steak.
Especially for kids.
Yeah. They really put in a lot of stock into kids liking seafood.
That could be the reason that some of these places close, is maybe they underestimate how much shrimp is going to go for free. But I'll bet you it's like those peel and eats, because those are a pain in the ass. If it's all
They
you
all
can
looked
eat,
like they looked like the tiny things. And plus, you see how they were laid out at the salad bar, right? This was a time before they put the sneeze guards in. You know,
Right.
It's just open air where you're dropping your food in as you're trying to grab tomatoes and cucumbers. But the shrimp are just in giant bowls. It's not like they're in, places now they have the big stainless steel bins, but it's full of ice with the shrimp on top of it, so it stays cold and fresh and somewhat, sanitary. They just peeled like 100, 200 shrimp, dumped it in a bowl, and just put it out in the fake lettuce of the salad bar, open air. So as you're going to buy, there's people going by, they're just grabbing shrimp as they go, like a little snack on their way back to the table.
It's right. It's not even like a full trip to the salad bar. It's like, snatch, like on the way back from the bathroom.
Right. Yeah, I never been to a Beefsteak Charlie's.
You never will.
Beefsteak Charlie's opened its doors in Manhattan in the year 1910. The restaurant slowly started rising to fame because they were known to take care of the customers by spoiling them with all-you-can-eat salad and shrimp. Who knew that was a selling point to a steakhouse? Like, if you had that now, nobody would give a shit. Like, I don't want to go there. Like
They would care about the steak.
Yeah. It's like, who wants that?
Yeah, like any of those places, like Lone Star or Texas Roadhouse or any of them. I don't really see commercials for them, but they don't sell it on like, hey, you got free peanuts, or like, hey, the fucking bread is awesome. It's like, we got steaks.
Yeah.
Steakhouses, it's a steakhouse.
The other component to it was that there were alcoholic accompaniments. I said that wrong, but like sangria, beer, and wine, unlimited. So, and several other Beefsteak Charlie commercials, if this one here was the shrimp in the salad bar, they do push the shrimp in the salad bar in every commercial. But at the end of them, they're all pushing, and it's like, and of course, beer, wine, and sangria. And it's like, you never think of sangria at a steakhouse.
No.
But, they were around for a long time. So, what else does it say here? So, if you think that sounds too good to be true, you're right. Beefsteaks Charlie's took care of the customers a little too much, and this became the reason they couldn't earn a decent profit. The generous establishment tried to live up to their slogan, "You're going to get spoiled," but unfortunately, they couldn't keep up their losses. Eventually, the chain had to put all that spoiling to a halt and closed its doors for the last time in 2010.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's way later than I thought.
Was.
I had no idea. But yeah, I've never been to it, and they all look like that old-fashioned saloon kind of thing when you see in westerns where they'd have that weird kind of tie.
Right.
I can't think of what it is, but it was like very thin this way, and then it would hang down, like the two straps would hang down like that. Is he a barber? Is he a bartender? Sometimes he's both. But now he's serving you your shrimp and salad bar.
Now he's got steak and some tongs, and he's singing.
Yeah. All right, next one is TCBY. Did you ever eat at TCBY?
Yeah, I was a big TCBY person in the mid-'90s.
I never was. I always knew it as a girl place. Like, girls in my school all loved going to TCBY, and I never thought to ever go there.
I went because at the time I was very into like fitness and health and stuff, and I was under the delusion that somehow yogurt was better for you than ice cream, even though it was packed with sugar.
Right. Well, there's also a commercial. I don't think I have this commercial here, but there's a commercial for TCBY that introduced their new combination of Ultra Slim Fast and TCBY yogurt mixed together. Gross. So you could get a diet yogurt. It's like, oh yeah, it's got Slim Fast in it. Yeah, but look at what they're not using for sugar for the TCBY was actually making people fat. All right, so it says TCBY, 1981. TCBY started as the country's first frozen yogurt shop. And who doesn't love frozen yogurt? It's a healthy and it's better alternative to ice cream. At this point, now whenever they have diet stuff and sugar-free stuff, whatever, it's like, you know what? I'll just take my risk with the original thing because the ingredients in the original thing are actually like natural ingredients.
Right.
When you get to the zero sugar, they're using they call it, what is it, sucralose, aspartame, and all this other shit, and it actually is worse for you than just having the thing with the sugar. So, or just cut it out. Don't have it at all. We talked about it's a better alternative to ice cream. The chain was purchased by Mrs. Fields Holdings in 2000. The Chicago Tribune noted that both TCBY and Mrs. Fields have considerable brand equity among the consumers. But unlike all the other restaurants on this list here, the company filed for bankruptcy protection in 2008 and requested a restructuring deal to avoid bankruptcy. Between 2001 and 2011, TCBY shut the doors to over 1,300 stores, leaving just 405 locations as of 2011. There's even less to this date. So, like, there's a handful of them still open, but I never see them anywhere. And that TCBY used to be everywhere. Like,
yeah, we had one in our town, and my town had like 5,000 people in it.
And they would have the lines on the weekends, like Friday and Saturday. There would be lines of people waiting to get those little sundaes because it's like, we got fresh fruit toppings on there. And again, like you said, it was under this guise that everything was healthy. Kind of like the shit Subway polls. Eat fresh, it's going to be healthy. It's like, it's still terrible for you. It's still processed meats. I mean, I love processed meats, but still, I'm not saying that anything I was eating was healthy. It's just, let's just be real here for a moment. All right, so let's take a look at TCBY. They had a bunch of different commercials, but a lot of them didn't make any fucking sense. Like, they kept changing their advertising style as if like they didn't know what direction they were going in. So you keep watching these different commercials, and it was a different take, a different theme structure each time. It's like, I don't know what this place is other than being a terrible yogurt place, but here we go. Oh, the singing's terrible.
The song's awful.
The country's best yogurt, creamy frozen yogurt. How could anything be
Look at
I got all sexy at the end.
yeah, right. It's like, all right, now it turned into like a fame video or something. So even in that ad alone, it's like, what were they pushing? Like, was this the fat-free alternative? Was this the thing for the young kids to come? Hold on. Excuse me. Sorry. For the young people, and then it's like, oh no, it's a sexy, provocative kind of dessert. It's like, I don't know what your branding is. It's like, well, they went to the ad agency, and the ad agency probably had several other campaigns that were either left over or denied by other clients, and they go, let's just put all this together and throw a saxophone in there to imply like it's a porn sex video.
Yeah, like the ad agency guy, like his daughter is an aspiring singer, so he gives her the gig, and she sucks anyway.
That could have been it. It could have been an executive's kid.
I mean, it's not a professional singer. There's no way.
No, it's so terrible.
The countries with yogurt.
It's like, how do we end this thing here? All right, let's just put a lady that was obviously working out, very sweaty, very maybe even horny, and just have her take the cup of cool, refreshing frozen yogurt and rub it on her skin like they did with the ice cubes, in certain movies.
Sensual.
Yeah. You could sit there, the parents watching this, and like, I don't know what this is, but I need yogurt now.
Yeah, right.
So terrible. All right, moving on. The next one is, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, yes.
Who doesn't know Kentucky Fried Chicken? But did you know the singer Minnie Pearl had a chicken franchise?
I did not know that.
So if you don't know who Minnie Pearl is, you can look her up. She's
they probably don't.
I don't even know if she was a singer. Actually, now I
thought she was kind of like a comedian.
She was like a comedic performer. You would see her on what was the show? Hee Haw?
Hee Haw, yeah, she was on variety shows.
Like that. Her whole shtick was she'd walk into a room and go, howdy, like in this whole hillbilly kind of sound, and then do her whole rigmarole. So...
And her hat always had a price tag on it, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, like she got it at a flea market or something.
Right.
And so I was looking this up. I'm like, why did she have a chicken place? So apparently she was hosting a show, she was hosting a show with Tennessee Ernie Ford. And they had Colonel Sanders on, and he was talking about his brand new, chicken thing, what he was doing. And he's cooking the chicken on the show. It's all in black and white. And he's like, so what's in the bag here? And the Colonel's like, well, that's 11 herbs and spices to give the chicken the flavor and everything. And the guy was like, well, can you tell us what that is? And he's like, no, it's my secret recipe, which became their trademark. She was there. He was demonstrating how to make the fried chicken, how they were frying chicken and in this new machine that he had and all that stuff. So then she goes out and starts making her own chicken franchise. It's like, oh, I'm showing you my brand new invention. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go and do the same thing. It's like, this was my thing. I just came out with it. So Minnie Pearl's Chicken, one of Minnie Pearl's biggest competitors was none other than KFC. In fact, Minnie Pearl's Chicken was one of the only fast food chains built to compete with KFC. It was co-founded by, I don't know this guy, John J. Hooker. It sounds like a singer, country or blues singer. And the famous she is a singer, country singer Minnie Pearl. I don't know her for being a singer. I know her for just doing like the comedic pratfalls and well-timed lines and things like that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Which is how they came up with the name. Minnie Pearl's Chicken was a huge success that at one point they were over 500 restaurants around the country. Sadly, because the lack of foresight in cohesive menus and recipes, the entire venture collapsed. The restaurant also started losing to its KFC competitor, so they decided to close it. So just because of incompetence, they didn't know how to keep the menu going or the supplies and everything else. And then it's like, we opened 500 stores next year. It's closed.
So they steal a chicken recipe. Then they're like, shit, we don't really know what to do with it.
It's like, yeah, we don't know how to run a restaurant. We don't know how to do any of this stuff. Now, I looked, and it was at a time that they weren't doing a lot of food commercials for restaurants unless you were a big company. You know, unless you were like Swanson's TV Dinners, or if you were McDonald's or a Burger King, something along those lines, you know, that had the money to make TV commercials. So the only thing I could find was, I guess this was some sort of stock footage that they were trying to make into the commercial, but we have it right here.
It's Sunday at Many Pearls. Friends, family, and food aplenty.
What, fried chicken, my son?
And of course, plenty of Many Pearls chicken. Plump, tasty, golden brown chicken, fried the old-fashioned way.
Kid looks like a serial killer.
Not too greasy, and with just the right touch of herbs and spices. Now, maybe you won't get
Herbs
the
and
chance
spices.
to enjoy dinner with Many Pearl, but you can enjoy dinner with Many Pearls chicken anytime you want. Most folks say Many Pearls chicken is the best going, but you'll never know till you try it.
Yeah.
That is weird. You're right about that stock footage shit. It's
Right.
just like a bunch of people eating chickens. I hate watching people eat.
Yeah, I do too.
It's such a bad idea for a commercial.
And I know the listeners hated for years anytime we were eating on the air. Well, some people were eating on the air, and they were just like, it's so disgusting. And I never really understood until you go back and you cut up the clips for like best of, and you're listening and go, oh my God, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
And then
I can see why people don't like it.
It's like, stop eating your fucking blueberries on the air. Anywho,
Is
yes.
that where Chip got that pronunciation from?
Yeah, that was an Opie
Blueberries?
thing. Blueberries.
I had no idea until this second that was also an Opie thing.
Oh no, did I pull back the curtain? Did I reveal something that wasn't supposed to be revealed? All right, moving on. The next one. Do you remember automats? They were kind of gone by the time we were coming up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really recall that.
So apparently the big one that was out of Philadelphia, grew to such huge popularity in New York City, was called Horn and Hardart. Horn and Hardart, Hardart. So Hardart, right?
Hardart.
So Horn and Hardart, known as the first automated fast food joint, or automats. Here you could purchase food already laid out and prepared for you from behind a glass window. All you had to do was grab what you wanted and pay for it as you would with like a vending machine. It was this unique experience that kept customers flocking back for more, which is why it became so famous. Although this seemed like the easiest way to get food on the go without having to line up behind a counter to check out. Sadly, when did this thing even open? Because a lot of these photos and everything were all black and white, so you know this is like turn of the century shit.
Yeah.
Sadly, the last Horn and Hardart location closed in 1991, which is way longer than I thought it was still available. But again, it was in New York City, so we weren't really eating at an automat in New York City anytime we went in.
Yeah.
But I was amazed because I've made mentions of this because they're big in Korea and in Japan, but not just for food. Like you can just go into these places. I've seen pet stores where you walk in and it's just a narrow store, and it's just all doors, and you have your credit card, your debit card, and there's a machine that looks almost like an ATM. It's a touch screen kind of thing. You go, you find the items you want, you slide your card, it pays for it, and then it pops open the doors. So then you walk to the other side of the room. Oh, open the door. Here's the cat food. Here's the shampoo that I need. Here's whatever, like that. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing to do. I do like walking down the aisles in stores and picking out your products, but I just thought it was kind of neat having those little compartments that you press this and they just open up. Oh, there's your thing, and then it snaps shut.
That's a weird
concept, right?
Yeah.
But apparently it was huge. I found this little mini doc on it here. We can take a look at it and give you a brief.
Joseph Horn and Frank Hardart
started the Horn and Hardart Company in Philadelphia. Frank was inspired by European waiterless restaurants, so he purchased equipment out of Berlin, Germany. The ship transporting the equipment sunk during the Atlantic crossing, but Hardart was not deterred. He reordered the equipment and it safely arrived in the United States. Together with his partner Joseph Horn, Hardart was ready to open his new business. When the Automat restaurant opened in Philadelphia, the public was in awe that they could deposit nickels into a machine and open a door to receive their food.
Probably
the
could
Automats were lovingly designed.
Probably could be the shittiest food too, but just the presentation is enough for
to get people excited.
Yeah.
Art Deco temples, and they felt futuristic. Sleek steel and glass vending machine grids displayed sandwiches and main dishes, as well as desserts and sides, each in their own little clean and well-lit boxes. Another memorable aspect of the Automats was the interiors, designed to resemble a Parisian bistro. These were essentially fast food restaurants, but they had marble countertops and the floors were accented with stained glass and chrome. Even the coffee was dispensed from silver dolphin spouts, sourced from Italy.
Imagine going to a place like this. This is extravagance by today's standards. I mean, I'm sure it was back then, too. It's like, oh, this is from Belgium. This is from Italy. So it seemed worldly and sophisticated. Now, if it's like, could you give me a cup of coffee? You want somebody to come over with a pot and fill up your coffee? Oh, you can go through those silver hand-carved spouts in the wall. I'm not walking over there. Just bring the coffee over here. I don't care if it's coming through like a golden elephant trunk.
Yeah, it could be coming from fucking God's penis itself, and I don't give a fuck. Just
bring it over here. I don't want to get up, and I don't want to make eye contact with you again. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, would you go to a place like this if it was still around? Does that sound appealing to you at all?
No, because I'm like, I don't know how long that food's been there.
Fair point.
It's just like that other people are reaching in. It's a weird.
Well, they're not reaching in. You have to put the money in to order the door to open.
Oh, but then how does it pops out?
Yeah, it was like a vending machine. In there, they would you would put the quarter, the nickel in there. The door would then open, and then you'd reach in and grab what's in there. So it's not like people are. It's pretty sanitary, and people aren't touching it.
Yeah.
But you're right. You don't know how long that's been sitting there for. That pie's been there for 4 days, and finally somebody bought it. No, it's fresh. Just came out of the oven today. Wink.
That's what that lady was winking about.
Yeah, it's like, this is coffee, and it's really just like cyanide. They're just poisoning the public. All right. But yeah, those are from a time long gone. I always wondered about that. Like, I think it's kind of cool. It works for other products. I just don't think it works for food nowadays. Like, because you see those videos in Korea and Japan where they're going in, they're getting clothing, they're getting all this stuff by touching it on the screen, and then the doors open. I think that's kind of cool. But if you go in for food, I think there's so many better choices now that no one's going to sit there and just cafeteria style bust your own table, and get your food. It's like, I'm not paying. It's like those places that have the griddles at the table. They're like breakfast places.
Oh yeah, kind of like the Japanese places, but where they have the grill or something right in the middle.
No, that's the hibachi place, not hibachi. Like a Benihana's.
Right.
Yeah, like
I think you're right, hibachi.
Not like that. There's breakfast places where you'd be sitting at a table and they have a grill like in the middle of the table. And it's not like you're sitting around the grill and the chef's making your food for you and that's how you eat. You're doing it yourself. They bring you everything and you cook it yourself. It's like, why did I come to a restaurant to cook this shit myself? I don't want pancakes. I know you're famous for pancakes. I hate pancakes. I don't want to sit there and you're pouring it out onto the griddle.
It seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen when somebody gets burned or some fucking hot shit spits up on somebody.
Something. But when you go to these places, I don't want to make the food. That's why I'm coming to you and paying the...
I'd stay home if I want to do that.
Yeah. Granted, this is a lot nicer than my table, but still, I don't want to come here and cook the damn food myself. All All right, moving on. So there used to be a burger chain called Burger Chef. You familiar with this at all?
I do remember Burger Chef. Yep.
Were they in this area?
I believe so. I never went to one.
Okay.
I remember there was. I mean, it's so long ago now. Like, I mean, I'm talking trying to remember like 45 years ago.
Right.
But I think there was one in my area. Oh, not positive.
Okay.
It was a big Burger Chef murder.
Really?
Yeah. For anybody who wants to look it up afterward, just look up the Burger Chef murders, and it was pretty violent and ghastly.
Was it somebody that worked there who was killing people, or people just dying at Burger Chefs?
People who worked there got killed by some guys. A couple guys.
See, that's not even the two top choices that I thought it was happening. Somebody came and killed the coworkers. Well, maybe coworkers, but killed the staff of these restaurants. And they were specifically targeting the staff for these chains?
Just for this one time. I think they were going in there to rob it.
Oh, okay.
Killing the people, like killing some of the workers.
They're in the burger. They ground it up. Waste not, want not. Burger Chef was founded in 1954 by General Electric in the Indianapolis area. The chain had over 1,200 locations nationwide during its prime and quickly became very, very popular. With all the success, you might be wondering just what happened to it. Well, perhaps if we tell you its the biggest competitor was McDonald's, you might be able to guess how this all went down. Even though Burger Chef was wildly popular, it started declining in quality and eventually lost to the Golden Arched competitor. After hemorrhaging so much money, it was sold off to General Foods and then sold off again. After all the changes, it was reborn as Hardee's.
That's right. Somebody told me that recently.
I didn't know that.
Burger Chef changed into Hardee's.
And Hardee's are the East Coast chain, where Carl's Jr. is the West Coast chain.
Yeah.
And that was only recent. That was only within like the last 20 years that they did that merger. But I used to only see Hardee's driving down to Florida. Like, you'd see the signs, the roadside signs. There's a Hardee's here. I've never eaten at a Hardee's ever. Me
neither, nor are there any around us.
Yeah. So I had no idea about this Burger Chef thing. But they had some decent ads.
More hot chicks.
Well, here's two things. One ad I'm not playing, but the ad I'm not playing, they had a Star Wars tie-in for the original movie. So in the ad, it says you come in here and you spend you get your food and you spend $0.25 and you got an exclusive. I think they had 4 different kinds, but an exclusive Star Wars poster. And they had the Star Wars characters in the restaurant, like R2-D2 and C-3PO were talking online as they're ordering. There was a couple other characters, and then Darth Vader shows up at the end. I was like, wow, that's a huge... I mean, maybe it's by today's standards, it's a huge tie-in, but back then, I think, just like how they gave all the toy rights to George Lucas because they didn't think the movie was going to be that big, I guess it was easy to get the fast food rights to it, to be incorporated with it, and have all the characters come in, because you try doing that now, that'll cost you millions of dollars.
Yeah, that would be a pricey endeavor.
Yeah, like McDonald's could pull that off, or Wendy's or Burger King, where they would spend that money to have the actual content and the characters in the restaurant to make that kind of merger. But I was thinking about that. Like, they had 4 exclusive posters. Imagine what they're worth now if you were smart enough to save those posters and they would only cost you $0.25.
You'd be in some money.
You would. But I went for the retro appeal for you, Brian, because in this commercial, tell me if you can guess which 70s sitcom star is the lead in this commercial.
Okay.
All right? Here we go.
Open wide, America. Burger Chef's got thick, juicy, terrific burgers for you. 100% all beef. We really work hard to serve them hot and delicious, so you can take them to our works barn and make them taste even better, the way you want them. You're gonna love our burgers.
Open wide, America, you never can forget. You get more to like at Burger Chef.
Was that pre or, I mean, that had to be post Brady Bunch was off the air?
That was during.
That was during it?
During.
Burger Chef, you're in.
That was during. That was her, like the very late years of the Brady Bunch before it was going out.
Huh.
So that was Jan Brady. Eve Plum is the actress's name in there. Imagine doing that now. You know, like there's kind of classier ways to do commercials now. I kind of miss how these restaurants used to do songs and big, like, you know, sing-alongs, and there was a big theme to these commercials, because now it's just, you know, it's very slick. Here's the branding, here's the brand new sandwich tied into whatever hip-hop artist, and that's it. But you watch these old commercials and you start kind of feeling nostalgic. You're like, why don't restaurants have themes and jingles and stuff anymore? You know, and have...
Yeah.
I guess this is beneath celebrities to do this, but what is beneath celebrities to do anything if the money amount is right?
It would be weird today, though, seeing like a major celebrity in a McDonald's commercial.
Well,
because she was pretty big at the time.
You do. We saw. Did we do it on this show, or did we do it on the other show? When they did Mariah Carey's 12 Days of Christmas at McDonald's.
Oh yeah, we did that. You're right. We did
Yeah.
talk about that. Where she went in and she basically gave them nothing and then left.
Yeah, because it was all green screen. She wasn't in a store. She wasn't next to the counter or anything. They green screened her into every shot. But that's a big celebrity. You don't see big celebrities doing that. But minor celebrities, you're not even seeing them do that. Like, you know, the kids from sitcoms or up-and-coming actors and actresses in movies. You're not really seeing them don the outfit of a fast food worker and then sing and dance like it's an amazing time to come down to Burger Chef.
Pretend she works there.
Yeah. Forgotten time long, long ago that this was actually considered the way you advertise, the way you do things.
Yeah.
I would love it. Now, there might be a callback for this now. It may have come back full circle that no one else is doing this, so let's go back and do this old shit. I would love, because the company's still around. Miller beer is still, you know, Miller Lite, Miller Genuine Draft is what the beer is called. They have Miller Lite, Miller Ultra, whatever. Remember how they used to do like the sports bar commercials with John Madden and Rodney Dangerfield would walk in, and then like Norm from Cheers was over there, a couple of football players, Bob Uecker would show up. Like, it was just this weird kind of collaboration of all these people that seemed to work together. Like, it worked, and they were hanging out at the bar doing fun stuff, and there was always the taste great, less filling kind of
Yeah.
Bring those things back. I would love to see some of these old concepts come back.
Just the hodgepodge of celebrities who are unlikely mates.
The goofiness, you know, the fun of it all, to make it look like it was more fun than it was a slick prepared commercial. Bring all those things back. I think they would do very well.
I think, like, if you even played like old, like say McDonald's, if they just played an old McDonald's commercial,
right,
I think it would get people's attention. Like, you don't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
Except just replay it. Like, wouldn't that get your attention if suddenly there was this fucking commercial from 1982?
Yeah. Good time, great taste. That's why this is my place. Bring back Ronald McDonald. They don't use him anymore. They got rid of him like over a decade ago.
Yeah, they don't use any of them, right? Any of the characters.
Grimace, the Fry Guys, the chicken nugget things.
Hamburger.
Mayor McCheese. Officer Quarter Pounder, whatever his name was. All those stupid... Like, I have the Funkos over there somewhere. I got the whole McDonald's line, but bring all that stuff back.
It's just people in outfits, man. Take them out of retirement. Or CGI these days.
Well, people are too upset. So you can't appeal fast food to children. Yes, you can. How about, look, we understand the parental concerns, but we also understand that it's your job as a parent to monitor what your kid's eating, not us. So we're going back full balls to the wall, and we're doing this again. I think that would be huge if somebody just took the fucking reins like that and just said, we don't care about... Look, the food is perfectly within the FDA guidelines. The restaurants are sanitary. We're going back to what worked, and what people liked, it's your problem that you're too big of a fat fuck to control yourself to go to this restaurant, not ours.
And your fat fuck kids.
Yeah. Make that the new ad. We don't care about your fat fuck kids.
We just care about your money.
All right, moving on. We got Henry's Hamburgers. Never heard of this chain.
Never heard of it.
Henry's Hamburgers was opened by an ice cream company to expand on their shakes and malts. Back then, people went crazy for chocolate shakes and burgers, so it's no wonder this place became famous. Henry's was designed to go after the strongest competitors, McDonald's. Compared to McDonald's, they didn't have a drive-in and had a much less diverse menu. They did, however, have cheap meals, which made them a primo alternative. I hate that word, primo. Not too long after the inception, though, the company started to lose ground to its competitor and decided to close a huge chunk of their store locations. Only one store is left standing in Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Huh.
It's so interesting. You see, it's like, oh, you know, this store did well. They put out 1,500 stores nationwide. Now there's one in Alaska. And it's like, wow, that story just really took a dive.
Like, why? Like, how does that one survive? Was it really that well or that frequented?
Or somebody bought the name and they said, hey, look, we still have the store and the copyright, but no, like, they don't have a distributor. They don't have any of that shit. They just do it all themselves. I guess that's what it does, but I've never heard of Henry's. Apparently, it went nationwide. I do have an ad here we can look at. This ad, I guess, was serving the Buffalo area in 1970. Let's take a look.
Henry's on! Tasting good! Henry's on! Tasting good! Drive into Henry's place, that great family place. For dinner, lunch, or snack. Wow! You'll keep coming back. Wow! Back to Henry's
This is a
place.
drug trip.
All for the love of taste. That's great Henry's taste.
If you like seafood, you'll love Henry's delicious fish sandwich. Flaky white, seaside fresh, fried golden brown served on a toasted bun with Henry's zesty tartar sauce. Or Henry's jumbo breaded shrimp. Tender fantail shrimp fried golden brown, served with Henry's special sauce. These delicious fish dishes are just part of the adult menu kids love.
Henry's is.
Everybody loves Henry's big menu and small prices. Head for Henry's, all for the love of taste.
Henry's is.
The adult menu that kids will love.
Is fish and shrimp primarily for adults?
I guess that was their thinking back then. While the guy with the hamburger is running away from the blue meanies in Yellow Submarine. Like, the whole thing is just, oh, the Beatles did it. Let's do what the Beatles did at this point in time.
It does have that same look to it.
Yeah. It's probably exactly what it is. Find some artist to rip their shit off, and let's put it in for a commercial that made no sense. But that was Henry's. Apparently it was a thing in the long, long ago. Let's see what else we got here. What is the next one? The next one is called, Howard Johnson's.
That was a hot spot when I was a kid. My grandfather loved Howard Johnson's.
I've never eaten at a Howard Johnson's. The only thing I knew about Howard Johnson's was it was that building with the orange roof that was a hotel you'd never want to stay at, which is what my dad said. That's the hotel you don't stay at. It's like, okay. But you'd always pass them, like on the road and stuff, Howard Johnson's bright orange roof. I didn't know until later on that it actually was a restaurant, because I only knew it as a hotel. But apparently it was a restaurant, then it became a hotel, and then it was both, and then they just focused on the hotels.
Yeah, there's a scene in Mad Men where they go to a Howard Johnson's.
To eat?
They go there, they stop there to eat, but they're also staying there.
Did you, you said that was a big thing. Did you go to Howard Johnson's? Was that a Johnson family venture because it had the same name?
I don't think it was the name, but it was weird how much my grandfather liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did ask him why he loved it so much.
Imagine he secretly owned it and then never left any of the money to you guys.
That would suck.
You look up the Wikipedia and you see he was the owner, and then he gave it to his other family.
Yeah, right.
You also didn't know about. Apparently, Howard Johnson's, a lot of their ads was known for their seafood, but it wasn't like fresh seafood in the sense of like grilled. It was fried clam strips.
Clam strips are big.
Halibut and flounder, like it was all fried. It was all fried foods. Howard Johnson's, better known as Hojo's, was one of the largest restaurant chains during the 60s and the 70s. The restaurant chain was known for its iconic building designs, orange roofs, weather vanes, and peaks. With over 1,000 locations nationwide, they soon became a regular favorite with a unique twist when it came to the dining experience. Howard Johnson's, after a few years in the business, the chain started to fall behind its competitors and didn't leave much room for financial growth and innovation. The downfall of Howard Johnson's was ultimately their competitors. Friendly's had their ice cream, KFC was all about fried chicken, and in comparison, Hojo's was just too basic, according to most critics. So I guess they had nothing that stood out. I mean, from all the ads I saw back from, they used to have black and white TV ads and stuff. It was always about the fried clam strips in a lot of these things.
Yeah, I mean, you're a kid and your parents are like, where do you want to go? Friendly's with the ice cream or Howard Johnson's with the clam strips?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a difficult decision.
Yeah, I guess kids don't give really, maybe they're right. Maybe the other place was right. That's an adult menu. Kids don't really give a shit about seafood.
Right.
But you'd think they would. If they like chicken nuggets, you'd think fish sticks would be up there, but
I remember going to Burger King, going to McDonald's, going to Friendly's as a kid. I always wondered who the fuck would get fish. Like, who would get a whaler? Who would get a fishamajig? You know?
Wow, the fishamajig. I remember that.
Yeah.
Wait, which restaurant? Was that Friendly's?
That was Friendly's, yeah.
Yeah. And then they had that insane dessert. It was like a giant chalice of ice cream with 4 spears of bananas sticking out of it. Like, it was just monstrous.
Yeah, there's a Friendly's about 40 minutes north of where I live.
There's one about 10 minutes from here.
Yeah.
From where I haven't been to Friendly's in years, but I will buy every summer. I get it at least once, the Friendly's watermelon roll. Which is just lemon lime ice sherbet, lemon lime ice cream with watermelon ice cream, and the watermelon ice cream has chocolate pieces in there to make them look like the pits from watermelon.
Oh yeah,
that's
never had it.
That, or I used to get the black raspberry ice cream on a sugar cone.
Wow, those are unusual flavors for kids.
Yeah, I'm not a chocolate or peanut butter fan as a kid. I always went for the fruit flavor stuff. All right, here's a Howard Johnson's ad we can check out.
Howard Johnson's? It's sitting down to dinner and being waited on.
Something special all the time, Eb. Special price, special nice.
Clams, clams, clams!
It's a Sunday big as Mount Everest.
The flavor of America.
Howard Johnson's.
Fish fry. $5.
They've really stopped using old people in ads. Like, some of these people are so old.
Yeah.
Like, they look like they're in their fucking 80s. Like, you don't really see people in their 80s in commercials anymore.
It seems even
or they
then,
look better put together.
Yeah, it seems even then they knew, it's like, look, this isn't going to be the fast food hangout joint that kids are going to go to. We're going to appeal to families and old people. Old people are going to come to a Howard Johnson's. Your grandfather went to Howard Johnson's, so they knew who their market was. But as that, I guess, generation moved on, to put nicely, they just never were able to recapture or what they had and bring in the younger generations, and I guess it just kind of died out. Plus, at that point, I think going into the 80s, everybody was kind of getting sick of fried food.
Right.
You know, they were looking for healthier alternatives. That's like when they started introducing salads and grilled chicken sandwiches and other, I guess, what would be considered healthier, even though it's not. Nothing is healthy at a fast food place. But I guess the public moved on and they just didn't move along with it. Aw. Hi, Sage.
He said hello.
Hello.
Aw.
You're right. That's one common through line with all these commercials is fucking fried this and fried that.
I think it was just easier, and people weren't health conscious, and the public didn't want you to be health conscious. They just thought, oh, this is delicious and cheap. Some of the prices in some of these ads from the 60s, 70s into the early 80s, some of the ads were saying, like, for $1.35, you're getting a huge meal. I'm like, $1.35? When you see some of the burger commercials when, like, you can get, 2 double cheeseburgers for 75 cents. Like, this would be a problem. I would slap down a $5 and just go, give me the menu, But you don't have that anymore. Is it Beefsteak Charlie's, Sizzlers in the 80s? They all had that, steak and this and that, baked potato, all this stuff for $9.99. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, when we were young, me and Walt and Kevin, when we would go out to get comics one day a week, and then we would always go to Sizzler for lunch because it was so inexpensive.
I never had Sizzler. I knew of it, but I don't think we've ever went to a Sizzler. No, I don't think it was. I'm sure they were on Long Island. Like, I've never been to a Fuddruckers. And I know they were on Long Island. They were on Long Island for a while, but I never dealt with that. What else we have here? Roadhouse Grill. You ever hear of this? Now, there's other restaurants that use this name, and this is what I couldn't figure out with the copyright stuff. Because this place originated in the West Palm Beach area, and then they expanded. But then you have, like, Texas Roadhouse Grill, and then there's the original Roadhouse Grill, and there's, like, 2 other restaurants that use Roadhouse Grill in their names. So it's like, it's not like you're saying Bar and Grill, which you can't copyright that or trademark that. But Roadhouse Grill seems like a trademarkable name. Yeah. And I don't know how everybody's using it. So if you have 4 or 5 restaurants across the country that are using Roadhouse Grill in their title, you're just going to assume it's part of the whatever's the most popular one, which I'm guessing is the Texas Roadhouse Grill is the most popular, as far as mainstream goes. And I don't know. It seems a lot of this stuff is they didn't change with the times, or it's very poor planning. Like, oh, we'll just throw the name out there. We'll do this. Give them a gallon of ranch at the salad bar. They're going to love it. Well, should we copyright the name? Nah, it's fine. We're good. No one's going to challenge us. And then everyone's
who would ever use it?
Yeah, who's ever going to use this? And then all of a sudden they use your name, and now you're kind of fucked. All right. Roadhouse Grill. I lost the paper to it. There it is. Has a name that might sound familiar to you. The Roadhouse Grill was a popular casual dining steakhouse that was a creation of this dude in 1992. These chains could also be found along major interstate interchanges all throughout the eastern United States. The original location was in West Palm Beach, Florida. In 2007, the chain filed for bankruptcy. In 2008, the company was eventually forced into liquidation, which led to an abrupt closure of its last remaining locations. Despite its sad demise, we are still remember this writing is terrible. We still remember this place for its yummy, affordable steaks and all the memories that came along with them. I've never heard of Roadhouse Grill. I don't even remember if I ever went to one. And anytime you see these, low price steaks, they're not, that you're not getting the best kind of steak.
It's shit like Chuck.
Yeah, you're getting like Tad Steaks. Remember those places? They were like New York, Chicago. They were all in major cities.
No, we didn't have that.
Big red sign. I never went, but I used to walk past them all the time. Big red sign, horrible white fonts, and it's just a long grill down the whole place where you almost cafeteria, and they're just slabbing steaks on there. And then they serve them up in the dish, and you put them on your tray, and then you would check out at the end and then go sit down. I don't like... There's a time and place for affordable meals, but I think when you're going to go for a steak, might be one of those times where it's worth paying the little extra to have a good steak than to get one of those things that has a lot of gristle on it. You're cutting a lot of fat off the side of it, so your big steak is now only like this big because you had to cut all the fat and stuff out of it. But it was only $10. Yeah, but you're kind of getting what you paid for with that.
Yeah, you're getting $2 worth of steak.
So here's Roadhouse Grill. Even their ads were terrible. It looks like a local car dealership ad. Yeah, which is not appealing.
You want good food, great service, and an atmosphere where you can be yourself. Sebring Roadhouse Grill is the only place for you. Our menu has something for everyone, including tender steaks, cooked just the way you like, right from the grill. Friendly service and lots of fun at our full bar, making Sebring Roadhouse Grill the place to be. Now, for a limited time, we'll give 10% of your total guest check to your favorite charity. It's our way of thanking our year-round community. So eat, drink, and be yourself at Sebring Roadhouse Grill.
Why would you give part of my check to a charity of my choice? If I want to donate to charity, I'll do it myself. I don't need to pay you and then like, hey, we're going to kick back a little bit. How about you just give me the 10% back? Take that off the bill. Yeah. Let me keep that, and I'll decide if I want to give it to a charity.
I can't stand. You're right. It does have like the look of like a local car dealership where the commercial was made with all locals,
right?
You know.
All right, we're gonna
do weird video too. Like it just has a weird video look to it.
Oh, without a doubt. We're gonna do 2 restaurants, and then we're gonna wrap this up for part 1 of this. We may even have 3 parts out of this because there's so much more to do, and we're not gonna have time to do all of that. Thanks, Stuttering John. Let's see. We'll skip this one here, and we'll go over to Red Barn. Are you familiar with the Red Barn restaurants?
I recall it vaguely. I don't think I've ever been to one.
I don't think I've ever been to one either. I don't recall ever seeing it here, but when I looked at a photo of something about their sign looked familiar, but I never remember anything up here in the New York City area.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like you just remember this shit from commercials that air locally, but
that's possibly it.
It's not in your area.
Red Barn. As the name indicates, Red Barn is known for its red barns. The exterior walls are painted red to give the impression of a barn. Since customers could never mistake the Red Barn for any other restaurant, it became quite popular. Red Barn had over 400 locations in the United States and abroad during its prime. To date, there's only one more location left in Wisconsin. There's always one left somewhere in a weird area in Wisconsin. And its name has changed from Red Barn to just The Farm. The Red Barn experience usually was undeniably refreshing, which is how it gained so much popularity. People wanted to keep coming back, not just for the food, but for the unique dining experience. The photo I saw, it looked like you were eating in a barn. You had red and white checkered tablecloths. The wood inside was all red. It had the beams and the structures like if you were in a barn where these rope kind of chandeliers were hanging down. It just looked like you walked into Hee-Haw. But apparently it was very popular. Now, Red Barn had 2 different ads that I pulled here. Not that one. That one. Okay. I want to go over here with you and see what you think. Okay, here we go.
We have fresh ideas at Red Barn, like a salad bar for you.
This is the 3rd time my husband went back to the salad bar. He likes to see the Italian dressing.
We got a chicken platter too.
We like the chicken best on rainy days, because it's foul weather.
We have fresh ideas at Red Barn.
I'm having a fish fillet just for the halibut.
Come to Red Barn now and get a regular-sized cup of
kids laughing at that.
for 1 little penny with any platter.
We have fresh ideas for you.
I recognize the sign.
Just for the halibut. Hey, Jim, get back to work. You're not in the commercial here. Go back in there and start grilling up this shit.
It is nice to see a little diversity because every commercial so far has been like almost all solely white people.
Well, I guess
that was the way it was.
The way it was, definitely. But
Red Barn
these ads here,
on the forefront.
These ads were all puns. They were all like
Red Barn?
their whole. And this is what I was talking about when companies don't have a kind of branding or theme to their advertising that you know them for. You know, you like to see the variations when a new ad come out because you know the structure, you know where they go with this. TCBY was all over the place. Red Barn just does commercials where it was regular people just doing stupid food puns, and then got so popular then it was celebrities in the restaurants doing stupid food puns. And you're sitting there and go, there's no way that person is eating at a fucking Red Barn restaurant. But lo and behold, there they are. We'll pull up this one. Here, this is a celebrity one. We saw one that was just regular folks. Now this is a celebrity.
Fresh ideas at Red Barn, like a salad bar for you.
Red Barn's big new salad bar is paradise. It's a garden of Eden.
I come to Red Barn because I miss my wife's salad.
Every chance I get. We have fresh ideas at Red Barn.
Why is Red Barn sound like a broken record?
You can go back and go back and go back.
And I'm going back.
My girlfriend, she puts plenty of onions on her salad. That way I can always find her in the dark.
Fresh ideas at Red Barn, like a salad bar for you.
Huh. Was that Lonnie Anderson in the beginning?
That was
Wow.
Lonnie Anderson. Did my camera freeze?
Yes, it is.
All right, hang on one second. All right, sorry about that. Something happened with the camera. It kind of just timed out, but we're back here. And we're going to finish up strong with doing the restaurants that were defunct, and we're looking at these old ads. A restaurant called Looms. You familiar with Looms?
Looms, no. Never heard of it.
Lum''s. Looms, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh. Looms was first launched in 1956 in Miami Beach as a normal hot dog stand, and then it slowly turned into something big. They originally had 4 locations in 1961 and were best known for their beer-steamed hot dogs. That doesn't sound too bad. After their success as a hot dog stand, the owner decided to expand the business. Looms quickly grew in popularity and had over 400 company-owned franchise restaurants by the year 1969, which included locations in Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and in Europe. Because of their quick expansion, they eventually overdid it and unable to sustain their reach, ending up filing for bankruptcy. All the original stores were closed by 1982. So, again...
That's a short lifespan for a restaurant.
Yeah, barely 20 years.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing with Looms. Looms had these TV ads with Milton Berle.
Really?
And he played every character in the ads. And you look back at this and you go, how did people tolerate this as entertainment?
Oh, really? It sucks.
It's just terrible. Like, I know he's a Hollywood legend and stuff, and you know, at one point I guess he was really good with comedy for the time, but these ads are just god awful. Maybe this is why the people just stopped going, because the ads were so terrible. But I pulled 3 different ads that we need to watch, because these just keep getting worse and worse. All right, the first one here is he's doing a stand-up set, like at a club, like at a nightclub. But he's talking about this family restaurant in a nightclub. So is the club in the restaurant? Like at night, does it turn into like Looms After Dark? Because they had the bar, it's a smoky atmosphere. He's walking around like old comics used to do. And he's like, here at Looms, look at the food that's coming through. It's like, wait. Looms is this bright family place, but now it's this dark, seedy nightclub. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. But anyway, here's Looms.
People are spending a lot of money eating out. You get it? Oh, gosh, I feel like the cruise director on the Titanic. But seriously, folks, that's why more families are coming to Lums. More for your money, variety, like great steaks, seafood dinners, deliciously different hamburgers. Lums has everything. Any pie? Do we have pie? Lums, no one else will give you more.
Ugh.
It is very strange.
Right?
Like you say, like they're delivering the Lums food, but they're in a nightclub.
Yeah.
Or what appears to be a nightclub.
Yeah, a seedy, smoky, boozy nightclub. But they're selling it as a family restaurant. It didn't make any sense.
The cruise director on the Titanic, still better than the halibut joke.
Fair. I'll give you that.
We'll see if it gets worse, though.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Because now he's playing characters. Here's the second one.
I am crazy about Lum's gourmet burger, green peppers, mushrooms.
I love the Ali burger. Don't nobody move until I get my bacon burger. All Lum's burgers are cooked to order. All choice beef. Maybe Lum's will name one after me. Say you already have, Mr. Burrow. That's why they're called hamburgers. Lum's, no one else will give you more.
Oh.
He just got nuked by himself.
Yeah. Get it? Ham, because you stick it up?
Yeah. It's pretty bad. He looks disturbing as Carmen Miranda or whatever he's supposed to be.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's find the third one here. But apparently this was an ongoing series. And I'll give them credit for this. They figured out what their branding is going to be commercial-wise, and they stayed with it. So you have an idea. It's like Lum's could have been, I kept calling it Looms, but it's Lum's. Lum's could have been a place for a while. It was like, oh, it's good food. The commercials are terrible, but that's the appeal of it because they're so bad. Or maybe people thought they were good back then. I don't know. But you knew what it was.
Right.
And you probably looked forward, oh, there's another Lum's commercial with Milton Berle. Let's see what stupid shit he did this time in the commercial. You knew
right,
they stayed in their lane.
You're absolutely right, where it seems like if you look back decades ago, the brand of humor was not nearly as refined as it is today.
No,
like,
it was.
You're like, who the fuck is laughing at this shit?
No, it was considered like these one-liners and pot shots and these puns were considered high-level comedy because it was the lowest denominator is who they were appealing to. It's like just simple, quick, hacky lines. That's what a comic is. You know, just do that, and then all right, here you go. And they probably paid him a ton of money to do it.
Oh yeah.
Here's the last one.
You know why I come to Lum's, good buddy? They grill the steaks just perfect. And the fish fried dinner is so tender and delicious. I love the juicy roast beef sandwich piled high with that thinly sliced roast beef. I like it when Mommy and Daddy take me to Lum's. The burgers are great. You and your kids get a better choice when you choose Lum's.
You get a choice. You get a better choice when you choose Lum's.
That last character, he looked like a pilgrim.
Yeah, he looked like Eddie Munster.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up again. Here, look at him.
Me and Daddy take me to Lum's. The burgers are great.
Oh, he must have gotten paid a ton if he didn't.
There's no shame in this. Like, he's not like, this is gonna ruin my image, you know? This is gonna tarnish my act, my persona. They just like, look, we'll pay you. What was it, 70s? So it couldn't have been. Pay you $50,000 if you just do a few ads for this restaurant chain. They're probably like, yep, take it, because he wasn't getting a lot of offers to do anything else.
Right at that point, yeah, he was
doing game shows.
Yeah, started to fade.
So it's like, yeah, there you go, $50,000, you can do that. And he's like, oh, I'll do characters, I'll do all that. And he probably thought these were amazing.
Baby wants his burger.
Yeah, it's like, you're almost dead. Come on.
It's like, dude, you're an icon. Knock it off.
Not anymore. I mean, after seeing this, you go, you know what? Fuck him and his entire career. I don't see Jack Benny doing this shit.
Fuck Uncle Milty and his big cock.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
All right. Well, we'll end it there. So remember, we ended at Lum's, and look, there's so many more restaurants and commercials. Like, you don't realize how many restaurants were in the lexicon of this country that just don't exist anymore. Or the other side of the coin, the one left in an obscure town in America.
Yeah, and people die off every day that remember going to these places.
Yeah.
Like, if the last time Lum's was around was in the 70s, it's like the people that went there are eventually going to die off, and then Lum's, it's almost like it never existed.
Unless you were, in that early era of the Gen X, where you went as a kid and you remembered because that's where your grandparents took you. You don't remember that place anymore. And that's an interesting thought that you just brought up here too. Like, things are going to disappear from memory unless you know to look it up or something brings it up. They're just going to disappear because the generation died out.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like, when all the baby boomers go,
there's
so much
a lot forgotten.
50s music. Who thinks about 50s music ever? Nobody. You still think about 60s music at times because you think the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, countless bands, The Who, still resonate now 50, 60 years later from the 60s because of, I guess, the direction of the music. But you go back to the 50s, it's just a lot of schlock. Like, what was considered rock and roll was all sort of the same stuff. It was boy band, poppy kind of nonsense.
Anytime a girl is singing, it's about a boyfriend she wants, a boyfriend she has, a boyfriend she lost.
A boyfriend who died because he drove too fast around a tight bend and flew off a cliff. Leader of the pack. It's my birthday. I'll cry if I want to because I'm getting older and I can't handle it. But yeah, nobody thinks of 50s music anymore. Nobody thinks of... Look, 40s music doesn't even have a definition.
No.
When you hear a lot of that stuff, that big band stuff, that homogenates from like the 1910s through up to the 50s. When you're thinking of like Glenn Miller Orchestra and the big band stuff, you don't think of it as maybe the Roaring 20s just because of the movies, but you never think of it as like, what is the music of the 30s? What music defined the 30s and the 40s? I don't know. It all sounded the fucking same.
It's all that big band jazz swing shit.
Yeah.
Well, you also think like pre-50s. What the fuck did kids listen to?
Whatever their parents did.
That was it, right? Like
what did they used to call it? The Great American Songbook or Hit Parade or something like that? It was just a generic classification of every kind of music before rock and roll started becoming a thing.
Yeah, no wonder they fucking embraced rock and roll so warmly.
Yeah, because it was all terrible. But now, by today's standards, my dad...
That shit's terrible.
You go listen to... I do like it in certain movies, like Clue. I love the movie Clue. You a fan of that movie at all, or no?
I have only seen it once, so I couldn't say like I remember it that well.
The ending of Clue is Bill Haley and the Comets Shake, Rattle, and Roll. And it just fits because it's around that time when that song would have been big, but that song fits with the movie and you get it, you know? Or if you still remember Happy Days... They used to have Rock Around the Clock was the first season's theme before they had the Happy Days song. Certain songs, I guess, will still resonate. Sometimes when they do a flashback to Buddy Holly, like That'll Be the Day. Elvis stuff, some of Elvis's stuff sticks out. But overall, that whole decade is just forever lost. Because it's not even on FM radio anymore. Like, it's not, when you listen to an oldie station... You're hearing Guns N' Roses. You're hearing Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Yeah. You're hearing, 70s stuff through the 90s as the classic rock now. You're not hearing any 50s shit anymore. So they're gone. Like, that is almost 100% gone. And it's going to be weird as we get older and, we go forward. Say we all are into our 90s, right? And then we look back and we're talking about the 90s music. And they're like, I don't give a shit about the Offspring. You know?
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that?
Fucking Tupac and Biggie? Who? Snoop Dogg? What? Yeah, like, that's where it's going to be, and that's where we're at now. Looking at all these restaurants, and you go back and go, all right, I wasn't around for some of these. Some of these I remember the commercials. And then you go, these things are unless you knew to look for this, they're gone. They're not in the consciousness of anybody anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, when's the last time somebody thought about Lums? Until we brought it up. Like, we might be the only people in America talking about it right now, too.
Yeah. Like, somebody hit the video. It's been 18 years, but we just got a view on it. It was because of us.